Now, if you can imagine that you are floating on an island on the sea called Antarctica, and you enter an extinct volcano, and you make your way down. And again, we're talking here, the Ice Age lasted 16,000 years. So that's 8 times the time since the time of the Bible. So it's a long, long period of time. And eventually you made your way down and you discovered that there was an area between the ocean floor and the mantle that was totally appropriate to tunneling, the Moho discontinuity. Hard enough to keep all the water out and to limit the damage done by lava coming through it, yet soft enough to dig tunnels and make rooms within that area. And that place is called the Moho discontinuity. Not an accident that the name sounds very much like Homo. Pasteurized milk floats its cream on the top, whereas Homo, it's kind of all mixed in together. This area, the Moho discontinuity, became the official residence of the Neanderthals, as they planned what they would have known would be a comeback on the surface of the Earth once the Ice Age ended and the ice began to recede. You have to remember, these are people who have been keeping records, and they knew that this was the 4th Ice Age, and therefore there's a beginning and there's an end, and the beginning was about 24,000 BC, and the middle part was about 16,000 BC, where the ice would start to melt, and what we know today is closer to the end, not quite, because we still have ice on parts of the world, the North Pole and the South Pole, top of mountains, and that there would be a normal time in the future where ice would no longer be present on the surface of the planet until some other major change occurred. The other option was that something could be done to induce the end of the Ice Age to come sooner rather than at its normal junction in time. And the most likely thing for people who have lived underground all their lives to be examining is the possibility of igniting the coal seams from down below, which would bring heat to the surface of the planet quicker than nature intended, and as well from the melting of the permafrost on the surface of the Earth, you would then get the kind of carbon gases that exist today and are being blamed for being the cause of global warming. Well, if everything that ever lived and has not yet made its way down as basalt sediment below the bottom of the ocean, but is in transition, begins to melt in the permafrost, then it emits gases. And since there have been times when the planet has shifted positions, where the equator is now the North Pole and the North Pole is now the equator, this kind of material exists all over the planet, and any heat begun below would exacerbate the problem on the surface as ice began to melt. It certainly gives Al Gore an opportunity to get a Nobel Peace Prize and an Academy Award by misleading the population as to what the real cause of climate change we're living today is. So try to imagine that below ground, in the Moho discontinuity, the Neanderthaler set up his transportation system in a geodesic type structure in the Moho discontinuity, allowing travel to any part of the globe, and to have his chemical computer set up in a mobile transportation system that guarantees it's never at the same place at any time that can be calculated, so that it can be penetrated or attacked, because you never really know where it's going to be, and you can probably duplicate it or triplicate it and have it go in all kinds of directions. Of course, with the geodesic pattern, you have the advantage if nature decides to send a volcano up in one direction and pierces the Moho discontinuity, then you have 4 or 5 different routes around the problem until you can get back to repairing things if you need them repaired. People live on the surface. They have no material left to them that allows them to know history after a few generations. But after 16,000 years, everything is forgotten, and people are back to acting like cavemen. Cave dwellers have the information, the genius, the wisdom in their possession to kickstart the world again. This time with the advantage that they want to do it in a way that will end up making them masters of the universe. The first problem they have is building a team of people. They will send back to the surface and maroon them there permanently, so that they can begin the process of taking control over Africa. The advantage they have is they've already built a group of people called Cro-Magnon, who are in southern Africa, known today as the San people. And they know that they can make a copy of these people and start the process over again.